Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. Tonight is Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. This is episode 563 of The Daily Dope. So if this is your first time joining me, welcome. Thanks for taking some time out to hang out. Do want to mention this is just a very, very casual show. It is not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, talking about tabletop gaming, see what's cooking in the latest offerings for tabletop gaming. So we talk about board games, card games, role-playing games, miniatures games. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little PC gaming and pop culture, but for the most part, we're talking tabletop games. Of course, if you are joining me once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Always appreciate people hanging out and watching this knucklehead pontificate. What can I tell you? Do want to tell you that if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you do subscribe, bang on that bell, because not only will it let you know when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, right here on YouTube, it'll also tell you when I upload other videos, such as upcoming reviews. Yes. Of course, I did upload a Kickstarter preview yesterday, so that was for Varia, so you can check that out if you'd like. I think today might be the last day for the Kickstarter, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good game. I will be very honest, though. I think the pricing is out of whack, but I don't know. It did fund. I believe it did hit its 100%. Anyway, of course, if you are watching live on YouTube, which is kind of the only place you could watch this, there is chat available. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. Chat is not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat, even though it sometimes zips by pretty quick. So by all means, fire away. So far, a gray day is first out the gate with chat tonight saying hello. Philadelphia Piper is here. We also have Cameron F. Do want to mention that we will not be seeing the Madman tonight unless his Gaming Wednesday has been canceled. Usually we get the Madman almost always, except every other Wednesday, because it's gaming night. I think it's Savage Worlds on Wednesday nights. All right. So I got a good amount of news tonight. Do want to mention that I didn't have an opportunity to really do anything today. I mean, outside of putting the news together in that, because I was waiting for my new phone. And it was coming FedEx and required a signature. And there'd be no way, if I was shooting things down here in the Duct Tape Studios and the doorbell rang, absolutely no way could I get to the door before they would take off. Because you know how these delivery companies are, especially when they need a signature. They're already filling out the form for them to slap on the door to say, yeah, we'll be back again or come pick this up before they even ring the doorbell. So anyway, so yes, so I got a brand new I should say OnePlus 7 Pro. Pretty cool, pretty sweet. I've been messing around with it a little bit. It was an unlocked T-Mobile phone. I mean, this came, it looked pristine. I was like, wow, not a ding, scratch, anything. Although I did pay for mint because it is a refurb. Or as Amazon likes to call them, renewed, although I didn't get it through Amazon. So it was T-Mobile, and it had that goofy pink load screen. I was like, oh, no way. Oh, no. Getting rid of that. So flash it over to the international OnePlus OS and loading screen of that. So very cool. All right. So Ibram's here in chat. Jorge Rodriguez is in chat. Like, yay, new phone. And Melwinius from York. So Melwinius is telling me, say, hey, from time to time, you should let us know how you like that phone. I guess he's been keeping his eye on them for some time. So far, so good. Kind of cool. So also pointing out that they've got their own OS on top of Android. Well, it's Android. It's their Oxygen OS, but it's kind of stock, and I like stock Android, even though I spend a lot of time with iPhones. I like closer to stock Android. I don't like a lot of bloatware and garbage thrown on there. And a lot of times some of these companies fill these phones up where it's like, can you break? I don't want that little, option you're giving me because it sucks. So we'll find out. We will find out. I have so far very impressed by Back Market. So very, very nice. Although I have to laugh. This was coming from a suburb of Chicago. I live in a suburb of Chicago. And of course, I paid for 2 days shipping. And trust me, FedEx was going to make sure they didn't deliver it any earlier than 2 days. It sat in the suburb almost next to me for all day yesterday. If it had been UPS, it had been on a truck. UPS is kind of like, you know what? If we get it to you early, that's cool. FedEx, not so much. Anyway, that's okay. Sweet. Anyway, let's jump in. Let's talk about some news because newcomers Fantasia Games have an interesting looking board game. It is up for crowdfunding. Here's the dope on Endless Winter Paleoamericans. Endless Winter Paleoamericans takes place in North America around 10,000 BCE. This is the second recent game that takes place around 10,000 BCE. That's kind of funny. Kind of funny. Players guide the development of their tribes across several generations, from nomadic hunter-gatherers to prosperous tribal societies. Over the course of the game, tribes migrate and settle new lands, establish cultural traditions, hunt Paleolithic megafauna, and build everlasting megalithic structures. Endless Winter is a Euro-style game that combines worker placement and deck building in an innovative way. Each round, players send their tribe members to various action spaces, pay for those actions by playing cards and spending resources. Tribe cards grant additional labor, while culture cards provide a variety of unique effects. As an alternative, cards can be saved for an end-of-round eclipse phase, where they are simultaneously revealed to determine the new player order and trigger various bonus actions. The game features a novel blend of interwoven systems and mechanisms, such as multi-use cards, area influence, tile placement, and set collection. Plus, there are many viable paths to victory. After 4 rounds, scores are tallied, and the tribe with the most points, you guessed it, wins. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. There is a Kickstarter video from Fantasia Games. I have to point out, this is one of the longer Kickstarter videos I have seen in quite some time. It's a little more than 4 minutes long. And you will actually hear all that information I just gave you once again, but you will get a bunch of looks at the actual game itself. So it's a pretty cool video. So let's kick back and give it a watch.
My people are storytellers. Our elders told us of when they were driven from their homes by frigid winds, dwindling food supplies, and apex predators. In desperation, they followed the migrating herds across the Beringia land bridge. The journey to the new continent was long and difficult, but we, their descendants, are living proof they survived. Our inheritance is one of ice and snow, yet our story is one of triumph. The new lands can be harsh and unforgiving, but they are ours. We are the tenacious people of the endless winter. There are many crucial skills we have learned by living in this inhospitable environment. Our pathfinders know how to search the glaciers and rough terrains for places we can build our villages. Our hunters know how to track, trap, and prepare big game. One mammoth can feed an entire tribe for weeks. Our elders teach each generation the vital skills needed to survive. Without them, our legacies would be forever lost to the elements. As our culture develops, so do our crafts, tools, and rituals, often driven by necessity. For guidance, we look to the skies. Spectacular phenomena, such as eclipses, signal important changes. Around these, we perform rituals, celebrations, and competitions. One such event just passed, and we, the leaders of these resilient people, are called to action. Fantasia Games proudly presents Endless Winter, Paleoamericans. The game takes place in North America, around 10,000 BCE. Players guide the development of their tribes across several generations, from nomadic hunter-gatherers to prosperous tribal societies. Over the course of the game, tribes migrate and settle new lands, establish cultural traditions, hunt Paleolithic megafauna, and build everlasting megalithic structures. Endless Winter is a Euro-style game that combines worker placement and deck building in an innovative way. Each round, players send their tribe members to various action spaces and pay for the actions by playing cards and spending resources. Tribe cards grant additional labor, while culture cards provide a variety of unique effects. As an alternative, cards can be saved for an end-of-round eclipse phase, where they are simultaneously revealed to determine the new player order and trigger various bonus actions. The game features a novel blend of interwoven systems and mechanisms, such as multi-use cards, area influence, tile placement, and set collection. Plus, there are many viable paths to victory. After 4 brisk rounds, scores are tallied, and the tribe with the most points wins. Endless Winter Paleoamericans is the latest title from designer Stan Kordonsky, developed by Johnny Pack, illustrated by The Micho, and published by Fantasia Games. It's a deluxe hobby game with outstanding production quality. Not to mention, it packs away neatly into a custom insert. But it doesn't stop there. Additional gameplay content and component upgrades are waiting in store. The Ancestors expansion is available free to all backers of the core game. The Ceremonial Grounds and Canine Familiars promo pack contains 2 mini expansion modules. Each brings unique mechanisms into play. The Cave Paintings expansion introduces a new spin on the game. The Rivers and Rafts expansion adds riverways around the terrain tiles that players can use to travel longer distances. It also includes new location tiles and special landmark pieces. For backers looking for the ultimate Endless Winter experience, the All-In Deluxe Pledge adds a double-stitched playmat and upgraded resin pieces. Endless Winter is upon us. Please support it on Kickstarter and help bring this exciting new game to life.
Endless Winter. Oh my gosh, what do we get that news piece popping up for? Endless Winter Paleoamericans is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Plays in around 50 to 90 minutes. This Kickstarter is well past the 700% funding level. You can reserve a copy of the game, which includes the Ancestors expansion, that Familiars animal module. There was another module as well, plus stretch goals for a $60 pledge through November 17th. There are some other, of course, various different pledge levels out there as well, because there are some other expansions that are available as add-ons as well. So this looks pretty cool. Now, Fantasia Games is a new game company. I believe they're out of Cyprus. So the other aspect of this, if you're checking this out, it looks like, well, kind of like, doesn't that look like the artwork from, you know, like Raiders of the North Sea and Architects of whatever, Westphalia or whatever it's called? You know those Garfield games that get released here in North America by Renegade Game Studios? Well, this is not a Shem Phillips design, but same artist. The Micho, I think, is his nickname. The Micho. So pretty cool. This does look good. This does look very interesting. Kind of curious about it. And I like these sorts of games. And this game does sort of remind me a little bit of the North Seas games too, because you're doing different things. You've got all these little mechanisms all kind of coming together. So very cool. Very cool. Looks very, very interesting. All the best on this first game release for Fantasia Games. All right, moving right along. Yes, we already got a peek at it, because arriving in December from Direwolf Digital is Dune Imperium. I've got the dope. Dune Imperium is a game that finds inspiration in elements and characters from the Dune legacy, both the new film from Legendary Pictures and the seminal literary series from Frank Herbert, Brian Herbert, and Kevin J. Anderson. All right, let's be honest here. It's all the Frank Herbert stuff that we care about, right? No offense. As the leader of one of the great houses of the Alansrad, raise your banner and marshal your forces and spies. The war is coming, and at the center of the conflict is Arrakis, Dune, the desert planet. Dune Imperium uses deck building to add a hidden information angle to traditional worker placement. You start with a unique leader card, as well as a deck identical to those of your opponents. As you acquire cards and build your deck, your choices will define your strengths and weaknesses. Cards allow you to send your agents to certain spaces on the game board, so how your deck evolves affects your strategy. You might become more powerful militarily, able to deploy more troops than your opponents, or you might acquire cards that give you an edge with the 4 political factions represented in the game: the Emperor, the Spacing Guild, the Bene Gesserit, and the Fremen. Unlike many deck building games, you don't play your entire hand in one turn. Instead, you draw a hand of cards at the start of every round and alternate with other players, taking one agent turn at a time, playing one card to send one of your agents to the game board. When it's your turn and you have no more agents to place, you'll take a reveal turn, revealing the rest of your cards, which will provide persuasion and swords. Persuasion is used to acquire more cards, and swords help your troops fight for the current round's rewards, as shown on the revealed conflict card. Defeat your rivals in combat, shrewdly navigate the political factions, and acquire precious "the spice must flow" cards to lead your house to victory. Dune Imperium is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 1 to 2 hours. It is going to carry an MSRP of $50 when it hits stores in December. And you can pre-order the game starting tomorrow. Also want to point out there is an additional option for Dune Imperium. You can actually get this it's like a bonus box that has like improved components. It's got miniatures, and funny enough, it's $55 for that. So the improved components and minis is more than the actual game itself. Kind of strange. Kind of strange. So a grade A was pointing out before this popped up, when I accidentally had the wrong news piece pop up after that video. It's like, too bad we weren't talking about the Dune RPG, which is coming from Modifius Entertainment. I haven't heard anything about that. I have heard nothing. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Kind of curious about the Dune RPG as well. Modifius does good stuff. They do very nicely with licenses. I can say that for sure. But this does look unusual. So a grade A says they watched a playthrough of this. It looks kind of odd mechanic wise. Could just be the group that was playing it. Yeah, that's yeah. So everybody's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, okay, so what we're going to do here is I got another news piece, and then I am going to talk about kind of both of these news pieces together, because I ran across something kind of interesting, and I did want to comment on it. So, next news piece. We were talking about I believe it was yesterday. I swear, during this pandemic, it's like every day is just, it's like a week is just one long day. I don't, I'm lucky. I'm like, oh yeah, there's football today, isn't there? Yeah, okay. So Critical Role had opened up a board game division. Well, it is called Darrington Press. They've announced one of their first releases for 2021 with some details. And I've got the dope on Yucatoa. Battle for life and death on the high Lucidian seas. Stay one step ahead of the consuming wrath of Yucatoa, the great Leviathan, and scheme against other factions to be the last sailors standing. All sailors fear the tales of Yucatoa. Damn you, Yucatoa! Scared me. The all-seeing great Leviathan beneath the sea. Its nightmare portents have come to pass. I should say pass. Let's get a grab a sip here, Jeff. So busy kidding around. It's like, yeah, how about reading the actual word correctly, Jeff? Its nightmare portents have come to pass. The beast has you in its serpentine clutches as the toothy maw of Yucatoa ravages your ship. You'll have to run, push, and sacrifice others to win. I would think to survive, not just win. This flagship title from Darrington Press is a tactical game of semi-cooperative card play where factions of sailors vie to be the last claimed by the raging sea Leviathan Yucatoa. Yucatoa is the first official board game developed by the Darrington Press team, a fast-paced, enthralling game of thrilling nautical adventure from the world of Exandria, as seen on the web series Critical Role, for gamers everywhere. Yucatoa is a must-have for fans of tactical card play, map reduction board games, and legendary sea creature enthusiasts. All those legendary sea creature enthusiasts out there are going to be very excited. Hexes are placed on the board to represent the wreckage of a destroyed ship, and they are progressively removed as they are consumed by the dauntless Yucatoa. Players take on the roles of two factions, which they share with their neighboring players, and they use cards to best position their two teams to survive. Each card in a player's hand carries immersive, gorgeous art and easy-to-understand icons depicting the movement it provides. Yucatoa is for 3 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 30 to 60 minutes. It is going to carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it arrives in the first quarter of next year. Grady says it reminds him of the Suro of the Seas art-wise. Yeah, it's kind of tough to... Now, these are the only two images that are out there for this game right now. And in fact, the one we were, well, just looking at said that it is not necessarily final. It's not the final artwork. It's not the final components. I would hope it's not the final components, because those meeples are just any old, blah meeples. Looks like somebody may have swiped them from a Carcassonne box or something. So this is going to be the first release, and according to Darrington Press, this is going to be kind of a flagship game for them. So here's what I found interesting. So this was just announced, and the Dune Imperium was revealed. Some images of that were revealed back on October 3rd. So here's what I thought was kind of funny. And take this for what it's worth. This is just me being me, right? Just sharing with you, what runs through my head. So I happen to run across... Well, okay, so let me just point out that there's a reason why I don't necessarily get along with everyone in the gaming industry, because there are a number of gamers out there, and everybody who has played with strangers and gone to conventions and things like that know this as a fact. There are some gamers out there whose heads are completely up their asses. It's just no doubt about it. And I'll give you a great example here. So here we have, on one hand, Direwolf Digital shares the images for Dune Imperium. And you know what? We'll go back to that news piece, and I will kind of show that once again. Now, granted, okay, the box artwork, yeah, it's not blowing me away, but it's not terrible either. And I do like the fact that it isn't just simply, hey, we're pulling stills from the Dune film for our artwork. Although there are some images that do look like they are, the actors and actresses from the film. Okay, so anyway, so this pops out, and only two images are basically revealed. The one you're looking at now, with some of the components and the cards, and then the box cover. And all these people on Board Game Geek start saying, this game looks boring. This game is boring. I can see this game is boring. I know this game's going to be boring. And I got, there were actually some responses from the folks over at Direwolf Digital saying, well, we're just sharing some images here. We haven't discussed gameplay all that much or anything along those lines. It's just, we're just sharing some images. And I swear all these people were like, oh, I'm not going to buy this game. It looks boring. Or they were like, oh, I can't believe you're using, images from the movie as like artwork. And it's like, well, the game is in partnership with Legendary Pictures, right? So I thought that was kind of funny, because this game could be very interesting, because Direwolf Digital are also the folks behind all the Clank games, which are awesome. They also did Eternal, which I have not personally played it, but I know a lot of people like it. So Direwolf Digital has done some really excellent games out there. I don't know of anything that they've released that was like garbage. I have no clue. All right. So, and I just, like I said, I thought it was funny. All these people were just, oh man, ripping it down. Oh man. So let's contrast that with the first game from the board game division of Critical Role, Yucatela, which I don't know, what I shared in that sell sheet info is all I know about the game, right? To me, it looks interesting. Then again, I think Dune Imperium looks really interesting as well. So on the flip side, people are like, "Oh yeah, oh this game's gonna be awesome. Oh, this is gonna be great. Oh, I can see it now. No, I can't wait for this game to come out." Really? There's really nothing about these two images that have been shared that would have me clamoring to go buy this game. I thought, like I said, it sounds interesting. I bet you it's probably going to end up being pretty good. But once again, it's from Critical Role. Oh, Critical Role. I gotta make sure I'm kissing their ass in my comments or something. It's weird. It's super weird. All these people are like, "Wow, the Dune game looks like it's going to be crap," and it doesn't look like it's crap. And then this game, to me, doesn't look exciting at all, especially with those meeples, which, like I said, it looks like somebody went and got them out of their Carcassonne box and tossed them out there. Not to say it's not going to be good, but then the comments are like, "Oh yeah, can't wait." I don't know. Gamers, a lot of these gamers out, not a lot, not all of them, some of these gamers out there, very confusing. Plus, they're all know-it-alls too. So, which is funny. I'm a reviewer. I've been covering this hobby for 11 years. I've been involved in this hobby since I was about 10. And you never hear me act like I know everything, because I certainly do not. All right, so let's move on to some more news. Once again, I am not trying to dissuade anybody from checking out this Yucatoa, because like I said, it does sound like it's probably fairly interesting. It's just out of the two games, my interest would be way more piqued by Dune Imperium than Yucatoa. As Colin Bose has popped into chat. Welcome aboard, Colin. Sending greetings from Switzerland. Well, thank you. Very cool. Very cool. Welcome aboard. Make yourself comfortable. So let's jump back in, because Fire Ruby Design has released a new supplement for Warlock. I know there are a lot of people out there who really dig Warlock, and people were very excited when I shared that news piece about Warp Star. So here's the dope on Griff's Veil, and my apologies, this is the only image that I can find. The supplement for Warlock, the old school role-playing game inspired by the early days of British tabletop gaming, explores Griff's Veil. The Veil is a wilderness on the fringes of the kingdom where a number of factions, from pilgrims to goblin clans, exist in an uneasy state of truce. Now someone has shown up to claim a piece of its past, and they'll need adventurers to do it, and what they will find risks upsetting the delicate balance. This supplement is tools-oriented, giving an array of tables and story hooks for classic sandbox adventure in the Veil, and comes in 2 parts. The first part is an overview of the Veil, its regions, its players, its history, loaded with hooks and possible plots for adventure. Written for use with Warlock, it should also fit nicely with other systems and settings of the old school. The second part is the adventure Past Best Forgotten that can be played standalone or as the beginning of a larger story arc, and is written in the same tools first style. This is available in both print and PDF. You can score the 74-page hardcover along with the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $20.89. You can grab just the PDF alone for $6.49. Sweet. I have yet to really have a chance to take a look at Warlock or Warp Star either. But like I said, I know a lot of people really, really dig this system. And it's kind of, as far as I understand, it's kind of a throwback to like first edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay without being like a complete ripoff of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. So this looks pretty sweet. Does look very, very cool. So everybody's in chat quizzing Colin about weather in Switzerland. Don't be scaring new people away, gang. So Ibram says, I think I said hi to Ibram, didn't I? Hopefully, if I hadn't, sorry. Hi, Ibram. Good to see you. I think I did. I don't know. So Ibram says, yeah, it's like I'm going to guess fighting fantasy and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay mashup almost. Ibram says, yeah, you said hello. I don't know. All right. So final news piece. Saturday Morning Scenarios has an RPG supplement, which did catch my eye. There's a reason for it. You're probably going to know just by the title. I've got the dope on Horror in the Windy City. Horror in the Windy City brings the excitement, intrigue, and beautiful chaos of the time period to your table using the 5E rules you already know, as adapted by the acclaimed Whispers in the Dark role-playing game, written and developed by Matt Corley and MT Black. Within this product, you'll find 2 books: Horror in the Windy City, a full-length RPG campaign sourcebook expanding the Whispers in the Dark RPG universe, and a novella, The Devil's City, written by Bram Stoker Award winner Sarah Tantlinker, I think. Sarah Tantlinker. My apologies if I probably got that wrong. And Matt Corley. I'm sure I got Matt's name right. Whispers in the Dark is compatible with the 5th edition of the world's oldest role-playing game. What could that possibly be? And set in a world adjacent to our own. The books can be enjoyed independently, but when conjoined, they offer the players, readers, and game masters a truly immersive experience. The beautifully illustrated 250-page plus, I should say, page book is a fully realized campaign sourcebook covering Chicago in the latter half of the 19th century, with new rules, backgrounds, a new alignment system, NPCs, scenarios, and more. In short, it's everything you'll need to take your party of investigators to Chicago. It'll be up to them to find their way out. Hit WC begins with an essay from Dr. Robert Greene detailing POC in the late 19th century, people of color. Afterwards, it reveals the timeline of events that led from Chicago's founding through 1899. So you can see there's going to be something that's a big focus of this. This piece of artwork might even give that away. Anyway, next up are the major neighborhoods and locales of the city, and finally the social clubs, secret societies, and criminal organizations that call Chicago home. I guess they should have said called Chicago home. Throughout are dozens of scenario hooks, stat blocks, and informative sidebars. No book on the late 19th century Chicago would be complete without including H.H. Holmes and his infamous Murder Hotel. Holmes and his allies, I really didn't have allies, yeah, it's a couple of cronies, are explored in depth. The hotel is fully mapped and described in exquisite detail. The Devil's City introduces 5 unfortunates stalked, captured, and experimented upon by Holmes. In the final section of Hit WC, your players are able to assume the roles of those folks as they seek to escape Holmes and his domain. Each character from the Devil's City has a full-page illustration and a character sheet for the players and GM to begin play with minimal prep time. You can score the 339-page PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Yes. So, of course, obviously enough, it caught my eye because it takes place in Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. So, this could be pretty cool. I've heard good things about Whispers in the Dark. Once again, have not seen it, but pretty cool. So here's what I find kind of interesting. So just in the past few months, we have one adventure supplement, this, that specifically focuses on the Columbia World's Exposition, or the Columbia Exposition, I should say, the World's Fair, which 1893, if I remember correctly, as well as H.H. Holmes and the Murder Hotel, which actually really didn't end up being a hotel. I don't think he ever really got it opened as a hotel in time. So, but I thought that was kind of interesting. We've got this. And then recently, I did my review of Devil at the Dreaming Palace, which is the first chapter of the Agents of Edgewatch adventure path for Pathfinder 2nd edition from Paizo, that was very inspired by Devil in the White City, the Eric Larson book, which is kind of goes back and forth. Each chapter, one, it'll be like about H.H. Holmes. Well, then it's about the World's Fair. Then H.H. Holmes and the World's Fair. Very, very good book. Very interesting book. I've mentioned it a few times on the show. And I've also pointed out it's one of my favorite audiobooks that I do listen to about once a year. All right. So Ibram says, oh, no wonder he's always floating stuff out about the Fire Ruby design. He works for him. Boy, I tell you. What kind of scam is that? I'm just joking. So Ibram says, full disclosure, I wrote most of Griff's Veil as a collaboration with Greg Saunders. Appreciate the shout. And look, see, I mentioned Ibram. I had mentioned Fire Ruby Design, and Ibram probably saw something on Twitter, probably when I was doing the Warp Star news piece, popped in, checked out the show, and now hangs out on the show a good amount. Very cool, right? All right, so that is it for tonight's news. So a couple of things, and then I'll wrap up. So I received, remember I was talking about, I got something in the mail yesterday, a quick start role-playing game, and I'm like what the hell was it? It's like, I couldn't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It's Nightscape, Red Terras, the D20 quick start. So this is kind of an espionage horror game. Probably a little more kind of secret agent-y as opposed to, say, like Delta Green. So if I remember right from the news piece we did, it's I think the player characters represent like agents for this Russian agency who are, or maybe it's not even a Russian agency. Maybe there's different agencies, and they are trying to recover artifacts from this like Warehouse 13 kind of place. So anyway, so I had to laugh because a Grade A says, hey, there's a quick start set of rules for Whispers in the Dark on Drive-Thru RPG, which you should buy through Jeff's The Gaming Gang Drive-Thru RPG banner. Yeah, speaking of that, since we were talking about Drive-Thru RPG, and I wish, honestly, Ibram can kind of like forward this on to the powers that be over at Fire Ruby Design. They really should have a website, even if it's if they're just doing a like WordPress website and throw a domain name on top of it, because like for an example, I was sharing Drive-Thru RPG's website address talking about the game. So I don't know. Ibram says, I told him it's not that difficult. Another thing that's kind of a pet peeve for me is when I see a website. And the Gaming Gang is built on top of WordPress. There are millions upon millions of websites that are built on WordPress. I think about 30% of websites out there are built on WordPress. And I'll go to a website and I'll see that their little favicon, which is that little icon up in your browser in the upper left that'll pop up like next to the web address, shows like a WordPress W. It's like, oh, people, come on. Just upload a favicon for crying out loud. It's like, because one of the things too, now, of course, Fire Ruby Design doesn't have to worry about this because they don't have a website. One of the problems when you can see it's a WordPress website, that gives hackers a leg up because they know how they can attack that website. And they figure, well, they don't even have a favicon. I'm sure they don't have any kind of hardening of their security at all. All right. Anywho, so that was one thing. Then today, from Frenzy Kitty Games, I got Static Dawn, the biopunk role-playing game. And this is, what are we looking at? Grand total of about 65 pages with character sheets and stuff. So this could be interesting. So I have to point out that this was the one thing that I was going to mention. I get people ask all the time. Well, I guess it's not asking. It's more like telling me. I shouldn't waste my time with these little game companies that nobody's ever heard of. Why do you waste your time with these people? Why do you waste your time with these companies? They only have it's a couple of games out, or maybe they've got their second game coming out. And to that, my reply is, why wouldn't I? What, is there a reason these folks don't deserve coverage? Because they don't have a lot of stuff out there? I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I get comments from time to time. It's like, oh, you're wasting your time on that. Well, you know what? I got to point out, folks who run smaller companies that are usually very appreciative that I help spread the word. And they also appreciate when I do reviews for them because a lot of other, big outlets want to charge them an arm and a leg, and I don't charge anything. So just wanted to point that out. It's, I don't know. Once again, as I mentioned, there are some gamers out there, and we have all encountered them. There's some gamers out there whose heads are right up their asses. I mean, it's like, come on, give me a break. All right, so there's some discussion about Golgotha, which I have heard of. I have stumbled across it. I have not actually gotten to take a peek at it, but I believe there's actually quite a bit out there for it. So Ibram's saying that it's black hack based, but it's science fiction. So it's kind of an SF dungeon crawl. So that's kind of cool. All right. Anyway, so that was the other thing. That was one of the things. The other thing is, yes. The reviews are coming. It's coming. Hang on. It's coming. It's coming. Like I said, had the new phone showed up. It was like, okay. I'm like, I don't want to miss it. Cause the thing is, you'll sit there and, it's mainly FedEx. UPS is never, well, UPS tends to drop stuff off without a signature anyway, even when it requires one. But I just find that if I don't get that delivery from FedEx when it first shows up, it just becomes a real pain to try to track down. Ibram is mentioning Watson is great. Yes, it is very good. We will talk about that. I really dig the artwork. I really, really like the artwork. And I don't know. I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. I mentioned it in the review. And I know it looks nothing like Charles Adams' work. But it just reminds me of Charles Adams. I don't know why. Probably because I'm an idiot. But, All right. So that is it. So Ibram says, yep, it is a gorgeous product. All righty. So once again, let me point out, if you like this video, And if you've been hanging out for 50 minutes, I guess you probably do. Be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell, because you'll find out not only when the Daily Dope airs live right here on Thursdays, I should say right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday night. Something just popped up on the computer monitor. I shouldn't say computer monitor, right? It's a 50-inch TV that I use. So anyways, it just popped up and distracted me. I'm like, yeah, airing right here on Thursday. Airing right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights. It'll also tell you when I upload other videos as well, such as the upcoming review for Gates of Delirium from Renegade Game Studios. Before I actually chime out, there is one last thing that I am kind of curious of, and I don't know what people think, but you may have noticed this week I've kind of been trying to be like a little more loosey-goosey, just kind of goofing off a little bit more, because that's more like really how I am. So I don't know, because I have had people in the past who are like, yeah, you know, can't you just give us like the game news and not like throw your opinions in there or like kid around about it and stuff like that? And I mean, the honest answer is no, I can't do that. Sorry. So I was kind of curious if people would notice that. What do you think? If maybe you think I'm being a little too silly. I don't know. I have no idea. All right. Anyway, hopefully he already hit that little thumbs up thing. If you watched live, thank you very much. Always appreciate people taking some time out of their busy lives to hang out with me as I just pontificate online. So very, very much appreciated. And those of you who popped in for the first time, welcome. Hope we made you comfortable as well. Hopefully you'll come back. Of course, I do know there are a lot of people out there who don't have an opportunity to watch the Daily Dope live. Maybe you're catching it after the fact on Memorex. Who knows? Regardless, I certainly appreciate those of you out there who watch, even if it's weeks later. I really, really do appreciate everyone who takes some time out to watch any of the videos here. All right, that is it for tonight's show. Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday night / Thursday morning. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the week. And as I have been chiming out on all my videos during the never-ending pandemic, see, the Endless Winter board game, we have Endless Pandemic every day. So, anyway, as I've been chiming out, here's hoping that all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. See you tomorrow. Oh, you're still here. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, click right here. And of course, if you want to see one of the latest episodes of the Daily Dope, click right on up here. And if you want to roll the dice, take your chances, see what YouTube thinks you might like from the channel, give a click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I'll see you next time.